Hey everybody, it's Jason BLaha here, and I had someone ask me a question that I thought I would address because this is really one of the silliest arguments that people put forward, and they'll always say things like, well, dietary carbs are not essential while dietary proteins and dietary fats are essential, so I choose to base my diet around protein and fat. And carbs are completely optional. And this has always been one of the arguments made by the low-carb crowd, but they're not factoring in a couple things. Just because something is essential in your diet doesn't mean that your diet should be based around it. What essential means is that your body can't produce those things out of other things. It doesn't mean that you don't need massive amounts of those. And for example, if you are not getting massive amounts of carbs or sugar into your body, your health will suffer. Now, obviously, your performance will suffer, and actually, you will die. You will die within a matter of minutes. It's the fact that your body can produce glucose through other pathways out of protein and fats. Yes, you can produce glucose from fat. That makes it non-essential. However, the point that there are no essential carbohydrates for health and basic function in your body isn't actually true. And when it comes to the essential amino acids and protein and essential fatty acids, those only comprise a very, very, very small amount of your total intake. Meaning your essential fatty acids and your essential amino acids in your diet could drop to 10% or less of your total caloric intake, and you could still be perfectly healthy, fit, athletic, and live to be 100 years old. And that's what people aren't factoring in. Out of the 20 amino acids, only 8 of them are essential. That could comprise less than 50% of your protein intake. We know that for general health purposes, a person can eat a 10% protein diet and be perfectly healthy and live to be 90 or 100 years old with perfect blood markers. High protein intake isn't required, and so you're looking at 8 of those, you're looking at about 4% of your caloric intake. Out of the 30 plus fatty acids out there, only 2 of them are essential, and we know that even it's generally believed that you don't need more than about 18 grams of those per day for optimal health purposes. So again, that could comprise as little as 2% of your calorie intake. So 6% of your total daily caloric intake for most healthy adults could be those essential things, and you will be perfectly healthy. So it's really a silly argument. And then we go over to the point about carbohydrates. Well, there's no essential carbohydrates. There are. Dietary fiber is essential. If you were to go on a nearly zero fiber diet, your health markers would suffer. You would have potential health issues. You would be predisposing yourself to all sorts of cancers and other diseases as a result of it. Dietary fiber is essential for health. You have to have it, and your body cannot produce a single gram of it out of anything else. That meets all the requirements for essential. And their argument is really absurd because when you look at it from a health and demographics and epidemiology perspective, the cultures and societies that eat the highest percentage of their calories from carbohydrates have historically had lower rates of disease, the best longevity, lowest rates of obesity. They're generally healthier societies, such as the traditional Japanese, and a lot of the Asian countries have diets that are almost purely carbohydrates. When we look at the percentage, at least, they're as high as 70 or 80% carbohydrate. And yet some of these are the longest living and lowest disease populations on earth, the people who have intakes like that. It's always been that way. So it's really an absurd argument because yes, there are essential amino acids and essential fats, but you only need very, very small amounts of them. And they only comprise a very small amount of the total amount of amino acids and fatty acids out there, while you do have an essential carbohydrate. Just like you only have those 2 essential fatty acids, you only have 2 essential carbohydrates, soluble and insoluble fiber. But they do meet all the definitions of an essential nutrient. So this is really a silly argument, and we need to just throw this away as some sort of basis for how you should plan your diet because of dealing with some of these are essential and these are supposedly not. It's an absurd argument. They can easily be taken apart, as you just saw. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh.